Let us consider this problem. Find the probability that a particle trapped in a box L wide can be found between 0.45 L and 0.55 L for the ground state and first excited state. Okay, so this is again this problem, particle in a one-dimensional box. Particle trapped in a box means we are talking about in this terminology when we say you consider a particle in a box. What you mean is it's a shorthand terminology for particle in an infinite potential well. Immediately we should consider an infinite potential well, that is a potential well which is of width L, but on either side of this potential well, potential energy is infinitely large. This is not a physically realistic system, but it's an idealization of many physical systems. For example, an electron inside an atom, a nucleon inside a nucleus. This can be considered as approximations of this ideal problem, particle inside a potential well. So when we say particle trapped in a box, we mean particle in an infinite potential well. It's L wide, and we want to calculate the probability of finding the particle between x equal to 0.45 L and x equal to 0.55 L. Okay, understand that x equal to 0.5 L is the middle of the box. So this is the middle region of the box, to the left of the middle, to the right of the middle. So what is the probability of finding the particle? Somewhere in the middle of the box for the ground state and first excited state. So we first take the ground state, that means the lowest energy state. And we have already seen there are different energy states corresponding to each n value. Energy is proportional to n square, and we have different energy eigenfunctions. So when the particle is in the ground state and first excited state, we want to calculate this probability. First we take the ground state, okay? So in the solution to this problem, let us first consider the ground state. So ground state means n equal to 1. N equal to 1 state. And we know what is the wave function for this. Okay. Let me use phi 1x. N equal to 1. And the wave function is root 2 by L. The general wave function for the nth state is sine n pi by L into x. So we put n equal to 1. So sine 1 pi by L into x. Put n equal to 1 here. Okay. We know that, so question is, let us ask a general question. What is the probability of finding the particle between 2 points x1 and x2? Okay. This is equal to, we know that this phi 1 x square or phi 1 star phi 1, this is the probability density of finding the particle. In one dimensional case, probability density means probability per unit length. So the probability of finding the particle in a small interval dx is this probability per unit length into the small length dx. Then what is the probability of finding the particle from x1 to x2? So let us say this is the point x1, this is the point x2. Okay, so what you do is that you divide this region into small sections, each of width dx. The probability of finding the particle in the width dx is this probability density, that is probability per unit length into the small width dx. So this is the probability of finding the particle in this width, mod phi 1x square into dx. Then you take the next point, again you calculate this. This phi 1x square can be different at different points, because as x varies, as x varies, this phi 1x varies. So probability wave function varies, so probability density varies. We know that with distance, the probability the wave function varies, and probability density also can vary. In the previous class, we have plotted the first three wave functions and their probability densities. We know that between 0 and L, as at different positions, wave functions can be different, hence probability densities can be different. So at each point between x1 and x2, probability densities can be different. So the probability, this times dx, that can be different, even though dx is the same. Okay. So then you calculate this probability for each dx, and then you add them. In the limiting case, when dx tends to 0, that summation becomes integration. So this probability is integral sum of phi 1x square, phi 1x square dx, phi 1x square dx, phi 1x square dx, etc. Remember that this integral symbol actually is the symbol for extended symbol for summation. Okay, this symbol is actually the S of summation. Okay, we are just even the symbol itself indicates that integration is summation. So we are integrating from x1 to x2. So this is the general equation. Probability of finding a particle between 2 points x1 and x2 is this. And these points x1 and x2, this is our box 0 to L. The particle is trapped in this box. We want to calculate the probability of finding the particle between x1 and x2. This is the equation. Now in this problem, we have a box L wide. Okay, this is 0.5 L, middle of the box. We want to calculate the probability of finding the particle between this point, which is 0.45 L, and this point, which is 0.55 L. Okay, we can see that this is the middle region of the box, and this has a width of 0.1 L. Okay, 0.55 L minus 0.45 L, 0.1 L. So this question can be restated as, what is the probability of finding the particle within a narrow interval 0.1 L around the middle of the box, okay, when it is in the ground state. Okay, so what is this probability? So probability of finding the particle between 0.45 L and 0.55 L is integral. So x1 is now 0.45 L, okay, x2 is 0.55 L. And what is phi 1 x square? This one, square of this one. Now this is phi 1 mod phi 1 x square is phi 1 star phi 1. But our wave function for particle in a box problem is a real wave function. So phi 1 x and phi 1 star x are the same thing. So what you have is root 2 by L sine pi by L into x into root 2 by L sine pi by x. So root 2 by L and root 2 by L are 2 by L, which we can take outside. So the remaining thing is sine square pi by L into x dx. Now you have to do this integration. So I am not going to do this integration for you. You have to do it yourself. Do it but carefully. When you look at it, this may look very easy. Actually it's very easy, but you have to do it once yourself. Then there may be some issues. You can work it out yourself. Only when you do it yourself, you will understand what are the issues in this integration, how we can solve it. Okay, so it's very easy. In one sense, it's very easy. This is like integral sine square theta d theta. So when you have this type of an integration, what you do is you convert sine square theta into 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. Okay, we have done this type of an integration when we did the normalization of the wave function in the previous class. Okay, but this is somewhat more difficult because that in normalization integration the limits were from 0 to L, but these limits are different. Okay, so when you substitute the values, it's a little bit more tricky. Okay, you can try that. I will write down the answer. This is, when you do this integration, what you get is 0.198. So this is the probability of finding the particle in the middle region of the box when the particle is in the ground state, 0.198. Probability you can convert it into percentage by multiplying with 100. So this is equal to, when you multiply with 100, what you get is 19.8%. Okay, let us pause here and discuss what is the meaning, physical meaning of this result. So when the particle is in the ground state, the probability of finding the particle in the middle of the box within a small interval 0.1 L around the middle of the box is 19.8%. What does it mean? It means that when you make a measurement, suppose the particle is in the ground state, and when you try to make measurement of the position of the particle, suppose you take photographs, you take continuously clicking the position of the particle when the particle is in the ground state. So particle is moving from 0 to L, L to 0, 0 to L, L to 0, and you are continuously clicking. Suppose you take 100 photographs. Okay, let's assume that each photograph is a measurement of the position of the particle. Then this result shows that this is nearly 20, right? This result shows that when you make 100 trials of measuring the position of the particle, when you make 100 clicks when you take 100 photos of the position of the particle, nearly 20 times the particle will be found near the middle of the box, around the middle of the box, within a small interval 0.1 L. This is the meaning of this result. Out of 100 measurements, nearly 20 times the particle is found in the middle. What about the other 80 times? It may be somewhere else. Okay, so the probability means this. When you make some 100 measurements, in percentage, it means when you make some 100 measurements, nearly 20 times the particle is found near the middle of the box. Now let us have a look at, let us briefly recall the graph of the probability density when the particle is in the ground state. Yes, in the previous class we have drawn this wave functions and probability densities for the first three wave functions. Okay, let us recall what is the graph or the plot of the probability density function when the particle is in the ground state. This was the graph we have plotted yesterday in the previous class. That is for the ground state wave function. This is the plot of mod phi 1x square. It is the same function. So we can see that the probability density is maximum at the middle. This is the plot of probability density. How do we connect this plot with this result? This result shows is that this is 0.5L, right? When you take this with when you take this 0.1L from 0.45L to 0.55L, that region is this. Okay. So what is this integral phi 1x square dx from 0.45L to 0.55L? That integral will give you, that integral will give you the area under the curve. So that integral gives you the area, this area under the curve in the middle region. Okay. Now this area will be 0.198. That is the idea. Okay. Total area under the curve should be 1, and this part of the area will be 0.198. So geometrically this is the meaning. So since probability density is peaking around the middle, so what you have is that there is a large probability of finding the particle around the middle. That is geometrically we can see that there is a large probability, significantly large probability of finding the particle around the middle when you make many trials of measurement. And what you see numerically here is that when you make around 100 trials, 100 measurements, nearly 20 times the particle will be found in this region. So geometrically we see that this area is significantly large. Okay, that is how we connect this plot that we have obtained in the previous class with this result. Okay, now let us move over to first excited state, okay, which is n equal to 2 state. Consider the first excited state. So ground state is corresponding to quantum number n equal to 1. So the first excited state corresponds to quantum number n equal to 2. So the changes here are phi 2x is sine root 2 by L sine. In n pi by L into x, you put n equal to 2. So we have 2 pi by L into x. Okay. So in this integration, we have integral from 0.45L to 0.55L, square of this one. Again 2 by L will come out. You have sine square 2 pi by L into x. Okay. So again you do this integration as before. This is like sine square theta. So we can write 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. Okay. So once you do the integration in the previous ground state, then you will work out how to do this integration easily. Okay. Then the result is 0.0065. Okay, this is the result. In percentage, we can multiply with 100. In percentage, we have 0.65%. Again, what is the meaning of this result? It means that when you make 100 measurements, not even one time, okay, when you make 100 measurements, the chance of finding the particle, again we are talking about the middle region, right, 0.45L to 0.55L. So when you make 100 measurements, the chance of finding the particle near the middle region is not even once, it's less than 1. Okay, so in order to find the particle, maybe you should take more measurements. Maybe 200 measurements, maybe 300 measurements. Okay, so it is in 100 out of 100, the chance of finding the probability of finding the particle in the middle is less than 1, not even 1. It's less than 1. There is a physical meaning of the result. So when the particle is in the first excited state, the probability of finding the particle near the middle is very low. Okay. Remember, the ground state, the probability was nearly 20%. Out of 100 measurements, nearly 20 times the particle can be sighted near the middle. Here the probability is low. Let us understand this from the plot of this probability density when the particle is n equal to 2 state. Again, in the previous class we have seen this plot. Here we see that this plot probability density is very low, when it's minimum in the middle. It's nearly 0 in the middle. Probability density is nearly 0 in the middle. It's 0. Actually, the plot of probability density is 0 in the middle. And how do we connect with this problem? See, it's 0 exactly at L by 2. But when you this region is a small width around the middle, right? From 0.45L to 0.55L. So what is this probability? It is the area under the curve in this region. Even though exactly at the middle probability density is 0, when you take a small interval, there is a small area. You can see that this area is very small. That's why we get a small result here. So geometrically we can see that this area is small, that is probability to find the particle near this middle is very small when the particle is in the first excited state. So in this way, when you make some, when you do some calculations and when you get some result, you pause there and look at the result and you try to interpret the result, what you try to understand what is the meaning of the result, okay, in each problem. Now consider another problem. Calculate the expectation value of position for the nth state of a particle in a box. What is meant by expectation value of position? It is the average position of a large number of measurements. Okay. So this is another way of looking at this question is what is the average value of position for when the particle is in an nth state, in a general state. So we are not supposed to calculate in the ground state or first excited state or any particular state, but for any general state. So how do you calculate the expectation value of position? This is a symbol for that. What is the general equation? This is integral, okay, phi star, phi of x star, x, phi of x, okay. This is the expression for expectation value from if it is one dimensional problem, minus infinity to plus infinity, provided the wave function is normalized. If it is not normalized, there is a term in the denominator, integral phi star phi dx. So if the wave function is normalized, integral phi star phi dx is 1. So for a normalized wave function, this is how we calculate the expectation value of position. Integral phi star x, this is the position operator, phi dx. Now come to our problem. Then for particle in a box, it is integral. Okay, what we notice that even though in calculating the expectation value, we are integrating over the entire x-axis. For this particular problem, particle in infinite potential well, from minus infinity up to 0, the wave function is 0. From L to plus infinity also the wave function is 0. The particle is found only between 0 and L. So the wave function is non-zero. Wave function of the particle is non-zero only between 0 and L. So we need to effectively integrate only from 0 to L. So what is our wave function? The wave function is root 2 by L sine n pi by L into x. We are taking the nth state. So let us take n pi by L into x. It's a real wave function. So phi star and phi are the same. And also x is a multiplicative operator. So it's not necessary to put it exactly in the middle of phi star and phi. We can put it here or here or here. If it's a derivative, as in momentum operator or Hamiltonian operator, it involves a differential operator. Then we have to put it exactly in the middle. We are operating this on the wave function on the right. Okay. Since it's a multiplicative operator, whether you position it here or here or here, it's not important. So we can say x, we can put it here, and phi star phi is this multiplied by itself. So root 2 by L times root 2 by, there will be a 2 by L. It's the constant. I am taking it outside. Then we get sine theta into sin theta, we have sin square theta, that is sin square n pi by L into x dx. We need to evaluate this. Okay. Again, you have a sin square function, then you integrate it by converting into 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. Let's do this now. So this is 2 by L integral x times 1 minus cos 2 theta, 2n pi by L into x divided by 2 dx. Okay. So I have changed sin square theta into 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. This 2 is a constant, we can take it outside, it will cancel with this 2. So we have 1 by L. Then we can split this as two integrals. Okay. So we have integral 0 to L x dx minus integral 0 to L x times cos 2n pi by L x dx. Okay. So the first integral is integral of x is x square by 2. Let us calculate, put it in the limit 0 to L minus here we have to use integration by parts. When you do integration by parts, there you are familiar with this technique. When you do integration by parts, you have to choose one of them. There are two functions here. X is there, cos 2n, cos theta is there, cos 2n pi by L into x. You have to choose one function as the first function, the other as the second function. And how do you choose this? Okay. So the formula for this is integral u dv between a to b is uv within the limits a to b minus integral vd. Okay. So basically integration by parts is converting the differential from the second function to first function. Here the derivative happens for the second function v, and when you come on the right side, the derivative is shifted to the first function u. Okay. So which one you choose as first function u, which one you choose as the second function v? That is a question here. You can see that in the integration by parts, the derivative on the right side, the derivative is shifted to the first function. So you have to choose that one, that that function as the first function, whose derivative will successively vanish. When you take the derivative, first derivative, second derivative, so within a few finite times of taking the differentiation, the function should vanish. In the first derivative, maybe the first derivative itself will vanish, or the second derivative may vanish, maybe zero. That vanish, I mean the derivative will go to zero. So you have to choose that function as u, whose derivative, first derivative, or you can repeat this any number of times, this procedure. So this derivative should successively go to 0. So when you look at here, if you choose cos function as the first function, its derivative is sine function, next derivative is cos function, next derivative is sine function, it will not go to 0. It will just oscillate between sine function and cos function. But when you choose x as the first function, its next derivative is 1. One more derivative, it will be 0. So the correct choice for the first function is this, u. Okay, u is x. So it is in this form. You can choose this as u. You can choose cos this as d. That is, choose this as u. Choose this as d. In this formula. Okay. Okay. So what is the first step? U times v. V is the integral of this one. So it is x times. What is the integral of cosine function? You have uv here. So v is the integral of d. What is the integral of cos function? Sine function. So we have sine 2n pi by lx divided by coefficient of x will come in the denominator, 2n pi by l. You have to put the limit 0 to l. Minus, there is a minus here, but there is also a minus here. So minus of minus will be plus integral 0 to l v du. What is v? V is this one, sine 2n pi by l divided by 2n pi by l into du. What is du? X is u, its derivative is 1. So 1 dx. Okay, I will continue here. So expectation value of x is we have 1 by L. Here we have when you put the upper limit we get L square by 2, lower limit will give 0. So first term is here L square by 2, and here when you put the upper limit in sine function, x becomes L. In sine function, x becomes L inside the argument. So L will cancel, we get sine 2n pi. Sine 2n pi is 0. When you put the lower limit, x is equal to 0, and here also sine theta. When you put x in the argument, sine 0 is 0. So lower limit will give 0, upper limit also will give 0. So this term will go to 0. This integration is from 0 to L. Okay. So you have to do this integration. When you do this integration, you get a cos function. So integral sine theta is minus cos theta. Okay, you get a cos function, and let us look at it. So what is the integration here? Plus. Okay, actually there is a minus sign. Integral sine theta is minus cos theta. So this 1 by 2n pi by L I can write as L by 2n pi. Okay, integral of sine theta is cos theta, cos 2n pi by minus cos theta, minus sign comes here, 2n pi by Lx divided by 2n pi by L. Okay, within the limit 0 to L. Let us first evaluate this. When you put the upper limit here, x equal to L, we get cos 2n pi. L will cancel, we get cos 2n pi. Cos 2n pi is 1. But when you put the lower limit, cos 0 is also 1. So what you get is 1 minus 1. So this is also 0. Okay. So that term also goes to 0. Then what you get as expectation value of x? 1 by L into L square by 2. 1 L will cancel, we get L by 2. So what you get is that average value of x or expectation value of x for the nth state, that means for any state, whether the particle is in the ground state or first excited state or n equal to 2 state or 3 state or any state, the expectation value of position is always L by 2. The average position is L by 2. What is the meaning of this result again? This result shows that when you make 100 measurements of position, see, in the previous problem we have seen that when the particle is in the ground state, when you make 100 measurements, nearly 20 times the result will be near the middle, but around the middle. But the 80 times the particle will be somewhere else. But when you take the average of all these measurements, what you get is L by 2, exactly L by 2, 0.5 L. In the first excited state, what you see is that when you take 100 measurements, the probability of finding the particle near the middle is even less than 1. Not even once we may not find the particle near the middle. But 99, that means most of the time particle will be away from the middle when the particle is in the first excited state. But again, when you take average of all these 100 measurements, what you get is L by 2. What does it mean? It means that when you look at the plots of probability densities in the previous class, whether it is n equal to 1 state, n equal to 2 state, n equal to 3 state, we have plotted only the first 3 states. But whatever, okay, I have also plotted the 8th state, n 5 8 square, to show the correspondence with the classical result. So in all these plots, when you look at it, the probability density is symmetric about x equal to L by 2. Okay, if you take the middle point of the box, the probability density is symmetric about x equal to L by 2. For example, you remember the previous plot. For example, let us consider phi 1 x square. Okay, this is the middle. The plot of phi 1 x square is something like this. The probability of finding the particle near the middle is 0. I mean, exactly at the middle is 0, but near the middle is very small. This we have done in the previous problem. But the probability density is symmetric about the middle. What does it mean is the probability of finding the particle between 0 and L by 2 is the same as the probability of finding the particle between L by 2 and L. Okay, when you take 100 trials nearly 50 times you will find the particle in the first half, nearly 50 times you will find the particle in the second half. Whatever be the state of the particle, whether it is in the ground state, this is the first excited state. But when you look at any state, when you look at the plot of the eighth state that we have done in the previous class, there also the probability density is symmetric about the middle. So the probability of finding the particle in the first half is same as probability of finding the particle in the second half. Then when you take the average will always be, so the half the results will be in this region, half the results will be in this region. So average will always be exactly L by 2. So the expectation value of position of average position of a large number of measurements is L by 2. This is because probability density of this particle in a one-dimensional box is symmetric about the middle point. That is why the average position is always L by 2 for any state. Next is calculate the expectation value of momentum for the nth state of a particle in a box. So let us calculate the expectation value of momentum operator. What is the general form? Integral minus infinity to plus infinity phi star x. Then momentum operator is minus ih cross d by dx. Okay, phi of x dx. This is the momentum operator, minus ih cross d by dx. Now momentum operator is a differential operator, so it should be placed exactly between phi star and phi. That means here it is operating on phi only, not both phi star and phi. Okay, so let us substitute the wave functions of particle in a box. Minus ih cross we can take outside, it's a constant. We know that the wave function for particle in a box is, we are calculating, it is for the nth state, okay, it's root 2 by L sine n pi by L into x. It's a real wave function, so phi star and phi are the same. But root 2 by L, okay, so root 2 by L will be there from here and here, I can take it outside. So we have 2 by L and the integration is from 0 to L instead of minus infinity to plus infinity. Only in this region the wave function is non-zero. So one sine function will be here. You cannot combine the two sine functions because of the differential operator in middle. Minus ih cross I have taken outside, so there will be only d by dx here. And then you have a sine, another sine function here, sine n pi by L into x. This is phi star, this is phi. Okay, phi star and phi are the same, but you cannot combine them. So this shows that you have to first take the derivative of this one and then only you have to do the integration. Okay, so we have minus ih cross 2 by L 0 to L sine n pi by L into x. Derivative of sine function is cosine function, so we have cos n pi by L into x. And then coefficient of x, that is n pi by L will come out. I will write it here, n pi by L dx. Okay. So this is like integral sine theta cos theta. Integral 2 sine theta cos theta is sine 2 theta. So I can take a 2 from here, combine with this one. So 2 sine theta cos theta is sine 2 theta. I can write it there. So minus ih cross n pi by L square integral 0 to L sine 2 theta 2 n pi by L into x dx. In the previous problem we have done this integration. Integral of sine 2 n pi by L into x is cos 2 n pi by L x divided by 2 n pi by L. But when you put the limits, upper limit will give you cos 2 n pi, which is 1. Lower limit will give you cos 0, which is 1. 1 minus 1 will be 0. So that term will be, this integration will yield 0. We have seen this in the previous problem of expectation value of position. In the last, after the integration by parts, the second term in the integration by parts will be exactly like this. Okay, so the right hand side is 0. So average value of momentum for the nth state, for any state, is 0. What does it mean? Physically, what does it mean? It doesn't mean that the particle is not moving. The particle is moving, it has momentum, but when you take 100 measurements and take the average value, what you get is 0. Okay. We can look at this result in different ways. when the particle is in any state, one way of looking at it is when the particle is in any state, whether it is ground state or first exile state or any state, in any state, the particle is there is equal probability for the particle to move from 0 to L along the plus x direction, from L to 0 along the minus x direction. When the particle is moving from 0 to L, its momentum is positive. When the particle is moving from L to 0, its momentum is negative. So for in each state, the positive values of momentum, when you make momentum measurements, you get half of the values of momentum will be positive when the particle is moving in the plus x direction. Half the values will be negative when the particle is moving in the minus x direction. So when you take the average will always turn out to be negative. Okay. Or you can think about this from the point of view of momentum eigenvalues. See, we calculate this expectation value of momentum, and earlier we calculated the expectation value of position using the energy eigenfunctions. These are energy eigenfunctions. See, these are the energy eigenfunctions for the nth state. Now, for each energy eigenfunctions, okay, that means for each when the particle is in a particular energy eigenfunction, it has an energy eigenvalue, and corresponding to each energy eigenvalue, there are two momentum eigenvalues. Okay, what are these momentum eigenvalues? Pn are plus or minus n pi h cross by L. For each energy eigenvalue, there are two momentum eigenvalues. That means in this energy eigenfunction, the momentum eigenvalues are even though this is not an eigenfunction of momentum operator, but when the particle is in this particular eigenstate, this particular energy eigenstate, its momentum values are plus n pi h cross by L and minus n pi h cross by L. Okay, plus n pi h cross by L, it means the particle is moving in the plus x direction. Minus n pi h cross by L, particle is moving in the minus x direction. What is the average value? Average value is 0. So average of these two, plus and minus, will be 0. Okay. So in terms of eigenvalue, when you analyze in terms of eigenvalue also, corresponding to each energy state, there are two momentum eigenvalues. One is positive, the other is negative, and the average is 0. Or physically, you can think about it like this. When the particle is in any state, particle is equally likely to be moving from 0 to L, positive x direction, and from minus L to 0, minus x direction. So when you make momentum measurements, half the values will be positive and half the values will be negative. Average will always be 0. So expectation value of momentum in the nth state is always 0. Okay, the next problem is calculate the expectation value of x square for the nth state. Okay, in order to show that it is for the nth state, let me put a suffix here. Okay, n, expectation value of x square for the nth state. Okay, now you know how to do this calculation. I am not going to do this now. You can try this as a homework. You have to do integration by parts to calculate this. So when you do this problem, the answer is, I will call L square by 3 minus L square by 2 n square pi square. Okay, so this result depends on n. Okay. You can see that as n becomes large, this term will go to small values. As n tends to infinity, expectation value of x square is L square by 3. Okay. Now let us calculate the expectation, the uncertainty in x. Okay, you know that the uncertainty in x can be calculated by this formula, square root of x square average minus x average square. Okay, now this we have discussed in one of the previous classes, so I am not going into the details now. So this is how we can calculate, and there are two ways of calculating the uncertainty, and this is the easier way. Now we have calculated the expectation value of x, and this is the result of expectation value of x square for the nth state. Let us substitute this. So I am calculating the uncertainty in x for the nth state. Okay. So square root of L square by 3, this is expectation value of x square, minus L square by 2 n square pi square, minus expectation value of x for the nth state is L by 2. So when you take the square, you have L square by 4. Okay. Now you can simplify this. in different ways, and one way of writing this is this you can work out L by 2 pi square root of pi square by 3 minus 2 by n square. So this is the expected uncertainty in x for the nth state. L by 2 pi square root of pi square by 3 minus 2 by n square. Now let us consider two special cases. For n equal to 1, the ground state, what is the uncertainty in position? L by 2 pi square root of pi square by 3 minus 2. Okay. You can see that this term, I have put n equal to 1 here. You can see that this term is greater than 1. Because pi square is 3.14, so square is slightly greater than 9, so 9 by 3 is 3. If it is pi is exactly 3, then this term will be 1. Okay, 3 square by 3 minus 2, this term will be 1, but pi is slightly greater than 3, so this term will be slightly greater than 1. So this implies that delta x is greater than L by 2 pi. Okay, for the ground state. This is the exact form of delta x. Uncertainty in position for the ground state. And another result is as n tends to infinity, what is the uncertainty in position? This tends to, when n tends to infinity, this term will go to 0. Then what you have is this result is L by 2 pi into square root of pi square by 3, and this pi will cancel. Okay. Then what you have is L by 2 times root 3, or you can say L by root 12. Delta x tends to L by root 12. Okay. So you can work it out. Then you can work out that delta x for the nth state is this is in this substitution. You show that you can do do the LCM and all, and can show that this is this delta x for the nth state. From that we get two results. One is delta x for the ground state is this, and for n tends to infinity, delta x tends to L by root 12. Okay, next problem is find the expectation value of p square for the nth state. This problem also I will not do, you can do yourself. Remember that p square operator is you have to do the operator of momentum twice. Okay, so operator of momentum is minus I h cross d by dx. When it is operated twice, what you get is minus h cross square d square by dx square. So there is a second derivative. Okay, so this should operate on phi, that is that sine function. So you do the second derivative, and then we know that when there is only first derivative, sine becomes cos, and that integral is 0. That is why expectation value of momentum is 0. But when you do twice integration, you get again sine term. So there will be a sine square term. Okay, so you have to do that. That is easier. Just convert it into 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2, and you can do that. So you do this calculation. You can show that the result I am quoting, n square pi square h cross square by L square. Okay, this result is not surprising because we have seen that corresponding to an energy, when you calculate the p square value, you get this n square pi square h cross square by L square. From this you take the square root and you get the eigenvalues of momentum as plus or minus n pi h cross by L. Okay, but you do this calculation in the proper way. How to calculate the expectation value, you can try that. This is the result. Now I am going to calculate the uncertainty in momentum for the nth state. Okay, uncertainty in momentum is again square root of p square average minus p average square, just as we have calculated the uncertainty in position. But for this particular problem of particle in a one-dimensional box, we know that average expectation value of momentum is always 0 for any state. Therefore, this is equal to square root of p square average. Okay, so delta p for the nth state is, what is the square root of this one? N pi h cross by L. Let's take the positive root because we need only the magnitude. Okay, so this is the uncertainty in momentum for the nth state. Now we are interested in the uncertainty product for the nth state, delta x into delta p for the nth state. Okay, so earlier we have obtained a delta x as L by 2 pi square root of pi square by 3 minus 2 by n square. Okay, this is the uncertainty in position times uncertainty in momentum is n pi h cross by L. So this can be simplified as L will cancel, pi will cancel, so we have n h cross by 2 times pi square by 3 minus 2 by n square. This is the uncertainty product for the nth state. Now let us calculate the uncertainty product for the ground state. So when put n equal to 1, so put n equal to 1 here and here, so we have h cross by 2 square root of pi square by 3 minus 2. We know that this is slightly greater than 1. So when you do this calculation, what you get is 0.568 h cross. So the important point here is delta x into delta p is greater than h cross by 2. See, h cross by 2 is 0.5 h cross. When you numerically calculate this one, what you get is and this 1 by 2 also, what you get is 0.568 times h cross. So delta x into delta p for the ground state is greater than 0.5 h cross, that is h cross by 2. What about higher state? When you put when n is greater than 1, okay, when n is greater than 1, this term will decrease, but there is an n here, this term will increase. So overall effect will be greater than h cross by 2, greater than this value. Okay, so we can say that for all states in particle in a one-dimensional box, this uncertainty product is always greater than h cross by 2. We know that the Heisenberg's uncertainty relationship is delta x into delta p is greater than or equal to h cross by 2. Okay, for this particular system, particle in a one-dimensional box, this equality sign will not hold. Minimum uncertainty product is this 0.568 h cross, which is greater than h cross by 2. And for all the other state, the value will be greater than this one. Okay, because of the n here. Because of the n here, this term will decrease, but because of the n here, the overall effect will be an increase. So for all the states, we can say the uncertainty product is greater than h cross by 2. Equality will not hold even for the n equal to 1 state. Okay, so this is the uncertainty product for the nth state for particle in a box. So this is the result for the nth state for particle in a one-dimensional box, and this is the result for the ground state. Okay, so what we have calculated are so we have made some standard calculations. Expectation value of x, we have seen that is L by 2 for all the states, for all the nth states. Expectation value of momentum for all the states is 0. Expectation value of x square, we have obtained the result that L square by 3 minus L square by 2 n square pi square. You have to do this calculation, and this is for the nth state again. And expectation value of p square for the nth state is n square pi square h cross square by l square. Okay, so from expectation value of x and x square, we can calculate uncertainty of x. Okay, delta x for the nth state, L by 2 pi square root of pi square by 3 minus 2 by n square. From the expectation value of p and p square, we can calculate the uncertainty in p, which is square root of uncertainty in p square, which is n pi h cross by l. So once you get these two, you can calculate the uncertainty product. Okay, so this is the way. For any quantum system, we should be able to calculate, in one-dimensional case, we should be able to calculate expectation value of x, expectation value of momentum, expectation value of x square and t square, and from these two, uncertainty in x, and from these two, uncertainty in momentum, and what is the uncertainty product. Okay. When we study linear harmonic oscillator, we will repeat all these calculations for linear harmonic oscillator also. Consider this problem. An important property of the eigenfunctions of a Hermitian operator is that they are orthogonal to one another, which means that integral psi m star psi n dv equal to 0 for m not equal to n. Verify this relationship for the energy eigenfunctions of a particle in a one-dimensional box. See, all the operators that we use in quantum mechanics are Hermitian operators, all the operators that we have encountered. The eigenfunctions, there is a result that eigenfunctions of a Hermitian operator are orthogonal to one another. This orthogonality is a generalization of the idea of perpendicularity. So, if eigenfunctions are mutually perpendicular, it means they are mutually orthogonal, it means they are mutually perpendicular. But it's a generalization of this idea. We cannot visualize them as just like two vectors are perpendicular to each other. But the idea is a generalization of the idea of mutually perpendicular vectors. Okay. And this is the condition for orthogonality. Integral psi m star, one function, psi n dv equals, so it's a volume integral. Okay. In one-dimensional case, it will be a line integral for m not equal to n. So the idea is that this integral will be 0 for two different eigenfunctions. M not equal to n means this is mth eigenfunction, this is nth eigenfunction. So two different eigenfunctions will be, this integral will be 0 for two different eigenfunctions. Then we say that they are orthogonal to each other. Now verify this relationship for the energy eigenfunctions of a particle in a one-dimensional box. Energy eigenfunctions means eigenfunctions of Hamiltonian operator. A Hamiltonian operator is also a Hermitian operator. So the eigenfunctions of momentum operator is also a Hermitian operator. So if you take Hamiltonian operator, the eigenfunctions of Hamiltonian operator, they are called energy eigenfunctions. They should be orthogonal to each other. They should satisfy this relationship. So let us check whether the energy eigenfunctions of particle in a one-dimensional box satisfy this relationship. So what are the energy eigenfunctions? I will use this symbol phi m. Our energy eigenfunctions are root 2 by L sine. So if I am using m here, I get psi m pi by L into x, where m is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. For phi n, I will use sine n pi by L into x. Okay. So I will use phi m and phi n, two different quantum numbers. Okay. So we can also use n. Okay. If we want the earlier expression, we can use n. So these are the energy eigenfunctions. Okay. You can also use the quantum number m. Okay. So in one-dimensional case, what we want to show, what we want to check is, what is this integral? Actually, in one-dimensional case, there should be minus infinity to plus infinity. But in this particular problem, we know that integral is non-zero only within this limit, 0 to L, phi m star x, phi n x dx. We want to find out this integral. If this integral is equal to 0, it means that phi m and phi n are orthogonal to each other. What is this integral? And we know that it's a real wave function. So complex conjugate will give the same value. So you get root 2 by L sine m pi by L into x here, root 2 by L sine n pi by L into x here. So root 2 by L I can take outside. So we get 2 by L integral 0 to L sine m pi by L x sine n pi by L x dx. Okay, this is in the form of sine A, sine B. Okay, this type of sine A, sine B comes in the expansion of cos A minus B and cos A plus B. Cos of A minus B is cos A cos B plus sine A sine B, and cos A plus B is cos A cos B minus sine A sine B. So if we subtract cos A minus B minus, if you take the subtraction cos A minus B minus cos A plus B, cosine part will go, we get only sin A sin B. Okay, so this part I can write as, or this 2 times sin A sin B I can write as cos A minus B minus cos A plus B. So I will take this 2 also inside. This is equal to 1 by L integral 0 to L. Okay, so 2 times sin A sin B I can write as cos A minus B minus cos A plus B. What is cos A minus B here? Cos A minus B. A is m pi by L into x, B is n pi by L into x. So I can write this as m minus n pi by L into x. This is cos A minus B minus cos A plus B, which is m plus n pi by L into x dx. Okay, this 2 also I have taken inside. So we have used the identity that 2 sin A sin B is equal to cos A minus B minus cos A plus B. Now we have to do this 2 integrations are there. We have to do them separately. And before doing them, let me look at it. This m and n both are integers, right? So m minus n is an integer, m plus n is also an integer. So let us substitute this m minus n as some p, which is an integer, and m plus n as some q, which is also an integer. So this is like cos p pi by L into x. This is like cos q pi by L into x. So we have to integrate this. So what is integral cos p pi by L into x? Which is, this is sine p pi by L into x. But when you put the limit 0 and L, upper limit will give sine p pi. P is an integer, that is 0. Lower limit will give sine 0, which is also 0. Here also upper limit, the integration result will be sine q pi by L into x. When you put the limit 0 to L, upper limit will give you, put x equal to L, L will cancel, we get sine q pi, which is 0. Lower limit also will give you 0. So the right hand side will be 0. So this integral 0 to L phi m star x phi n x dx is 0. It shows that, and we have taken the limit situation that m is not equal to n. We have assumed that m is not equal to n. Okay, otherwise m equal to n will be 0, right? So when m not equal to n, what you get is that this integral is 0. This shows that phi m and phi n, that is 2 different eigenfunctions of Hamiltonian operator, 2 different energy eigenfunctions are mutually, they are orthogonal to each other. Or in general, all the energy eigenfunctions, all the different energy eigenfunctions are mutually orthogonal. And this result is a special case of, this result we have obtained in particle in a one-dimensional box. This shows a general behavior that eigenfunctions of any Hermitian operator are orthogonal to each other. The general result we have not proved. This is only a particular example of a general result. Okay.